Did you know that 90% of new parents feel overwhelmed within the first few weeks? Let's talk about how to navigate this journey smoothly. In this video, I will share with you my 6 rules for making motherhood less stressful, more joyful, and something that will propel your success rather than block it. Talking from the position of experience here as a mom of 2 who successfully juggles a high-performing career, motherhood, and now entrepreneurship, and also as a performance coach helping many people on the topic of parenting. Hi guys, I'm Anna Lehman, an accredited personal performance coach, and in this channel we talk about everything related to personal success. My definition of success has always had the being a mom or becoming a mom component. To tell you the truth, this was probably one of the few things I was pretty sure about since I have remembered myself, that I want to be a mom. I always adored babies and they liked me, so I always knew that I would do anything to become a mom. I never dreamt of getting married or building a particular kind of career, but I dreamt of being a mom and traveling around the world. And it was funny to hear comments that people were making towards me, seeing how seriously I studied and grew my career, that I just wouldn't have time to become a mom because I was working way too hard. But at 25, I became a mom, as planned. And as I always say to my daughter, the sun started to shine brighter the day she was born. That was the moment when I literally felt that I stepped on that journey of building and achieving my 360 success. I always say that if I hadn't become a mom at 25 and then second time at 34, I wouldn't have successfully immigrated to Australia. I wouldn't have achieved 200k jobs as head of finance. I wouldn't have started my business and just wouldn't be where I am right now. Why? Because for me personally, motherhood was something that made me complete, that gave me that energy, not took it away from me, that gave me those wings, not cut them. Partially due to the fact that I wanted it more than anything in this world, and partially due to the fact that I built systems and processes to optimize my life. Let me tell you my story. Both of my kids were born healthy. My daughter was born exactly on a due date, which is pretty rare, with only 5% of babies being born on their due date. Both of my kids were born through natural labor. Our daughter was a super easy newborn. Our baby boy was also born full term, but unexpectedly was born 2 kilograms only. This created a whirlwind of emotions and stress as he was taken away from me to nursery and tested for various things. Thank God everything turned out to be good, and later we found out that my placenta started to retire earlier and he was not getting all the nutrients over the last 4 weeks. We were lucky that it all ended happily. He was just born super hungry and started eating non-stop and putting on weight really well. But with our baby boy, we experienced all the possible nasty things people usually talk about, such as colic, reflux, pain in his tummy, screaming, which ended like this when he turned 3 months old. Everyone's story is very, very unique. But irrespectively of where you are with your situation, I really hope this video will give you some guidance and will give you some tools that will help you to make your motherhood a little bit easier and more joyful. But before we go into details, I really want to share something super exciting with you. I'm in the process of designing my first online course, which will go through a pre-launch stage from 1st of January 2025 on the topic of personal success, with actionable exercises, guidance, and coaching strategies around personal finance, productivity, parenting, relationships, career. So if you want to get early access at half price, sign up at the link that I created in the first comment to this video, and I can't wait to deliver an outstanding, affordable product for you. First principle, from day one, do what's good for you and your partner in the long run. Once you become a mom, build the routines that will work for you and your partner long term. Not in the moment, but in the long run. You need to remind yourself that path of least resistance is very often not the best one. You are at the moment of building new patterns and new routines. Let me give you an example about 2 situations, one with my daughter and one with my son. When my daughter was little, we got into habit of rocking her. And by the time she was 1 year old, we were constantly rocking her before she would go to bed in the evening. And when she was almost 1, our rocking would be lasting for like like 45 minutes, almost an hour. We just got to the point that it started to impact our mentally. The whole evening would be wasted because she would just lie in there, play with my nose, play with my eyes, smile at me, but just not going to bed. And I realized that we actually created that pattern, created that habit for her that now becomes more of a play. So I said to my husband, you know what, we have to change this because it started to impact our mental health. So we made a decision that we're gonna train her out of that habit. And it was unbearably hard. So for 7, maybe 8 days, she was screaming nonstop. Every time we would put her to bed, we would say that we are here, we love you, darling, we're around, we don't go anywhere, but we just wouldn't pick her up and we wouldn't do this rocking thing with her. It was a disaster. 7 days of screaming. She wouldn't fall asleep until like 3 a.m. But we made a decision that we're going to be firm and we're going to be sticking to our process and our commitment, and we're not going to pick her up. She knew she was fine. We knew she was fine. We were near her. We were really engaged and we were talking to her, but we wouldn't pick her up and we wouldn't rock her. By the time it was day number 8 or day number 9, she completely stopped screaming. She completely stopped crying. Good night, darling. And she would fall asleep easily and smoothly. We learned that lesson with our first child. So when our son was born, I made a decision from day one that he's going to be sleeping in his separate cot, separate bed from day one. No rocking, nothing. Just put to bed. Good night. Maybe read a story, and that's it. We had no issues with our son falling asleep. It's the smoothest possibly process that you can only imagine. It takes him 3 seconds to fall asleep since he's been newborn, even when he had pain in his tummy, until now he's 3.5. It takes 3 seconds. We don't rock, we don't sit, we don't spend hours, we don't lie in his bed. He has a separate room, separate cot, and it's extremely smooth process. So these are the things that I'm talking about building the habits and building the routines. You have to remember, do something that's going to work for you long term. You need to be prepared that making unpopular decisions sometimes might be the best for you, your child, and family unit in general, but it might not be quite comfortable in that particular moment. Be ready for that. Principle number 2, listen to your inner voice. For many women, motherhood, especially at the start, can feel incredibly isolating. If this is the case for you, be okay to start changing that. Reach out to your partner, family, and friends for support. If it happens to be that way, that your partner is not very supportive, that is a concern that you actually might want to explore later on. But in the meantime, find the network of people who will support you. Hire babysitters sometimes if you can afford, for you to have few hours of your time to go and exercise or go for massage or catch up with friends for lunch. I personally didn't have that feeling of isolation. My son was born 2 days before the strictest COVID lockdown in Australia, and for 4 months it would be just us and my husband and our older daughter. And I couldn't be happier. I think it was the happiest time of my life because I was in that bubble where everything seemed so simple. That is why I'm saying, listen to your inner feelings, inner voice, and follow those. Suffering is not an option, and a lot of things are figure outable. Principle number 3, keep having fun with your partner. Motherhood changes so much, but one thing that shouldn't fade is the fun and connection you share with your partner. Yes, life gets busier and schedules get tighter, but finding ways to enjoy each other's company is crucial for keeping your relationship strong. Plan mini date nights at home once the kids are asleep. Make time for each other, to hug each other, to talk. Do not let your connection slip away. Kids grow and go, but your relationship stays. Take walks together. If you are able to grab a stroller and go for evening walks, it gives you the chance to talk, to unwind, and enjoy each other's company in a relaxed way. Create new traditions. Maybe it's a weekly coffee run with the kids or movie nights where you take turns picking the film. Building fun traditions together keeps things light and strengthens your bond. We resumed dating when our baby turned 6 months. Usually we would put him to bed and go out. We would go out somewhere locally. Having date nights in the craziness of life is super important to keep that spark alive. It made a huge difference for our relationship. Principle number 4, do what is important for you. Prioritizing self-care might seem like a luxury, but trust me, it's essential. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Whether it's taking a relaxing bath, reading a book, or enjoying a cup of coffee while it's still hot, make time for the things that bring you joy. Your baby will benefit from having a happy, relaxed mom. So don't neglect your own needs in the process. I remember when I got out of hospital, the first thing I did a manicure and pedicure. I did it myself when my baby was having a nap, and things like that made me feel really refreshed and happy. Another thing we did is that we started planning trip with our 5 months old baby. Remember I told you that traveling was one of my biggest dreams, so I never wanted to stop doing that once I started having kids, but completely the opposite. We travel a lot with our kids. My boy had been on 22 flights by the time he was 3. My daughter has been to 13 countries and she's only 11. And we resumed traveling the moment they turned 6 months old. So doing things that matter to me and not postponing those things for long had a huge positive impact on my motherhood experience, my mental health. Principle number 5, develop self-discipline and master productivity. If you want your motherhood to be smooth, you absolutely have to master the art of productivity. I can't even tell you how much it will change your life. Check out my video on productivity disciplines here, which will help you in the process. You need to master time management to figure out what to outsource, to figure out what to stop doing, what to automate, what to start doing. Be really clear that your mental health, your physical recovery, and connection between you and all the household members come first. These are the most critical things, not clean floors and not beautifully baked pie when your mother-in-law comes to visit. The rule is simple. Ask yourself one question. Do you want your motherhood to improve your life or to worsen it? And then make every choice off the back of this question. Simplify the routines. Stop caring about other people's opinions. Ask for help when needed. And it can be the help you pay for, such as cleaner or babysitter. And focus on you, your partner, your other children in the family, and your little baby. And always prioritize sleep. If you want to spend extra time on making sophisticated lunch, or you have an opportunity to go to sleep, sleep. Hang out with friends or sleep, sleep. Watch a show or sleep, sleep. Use every single moment to catch up on your sleep during the day if you don't get a proper sleep during the night. Your sleep will impact how you see your life, your body, your recovery, your baby, and the whole journey. Lack of it for long periods of time will slowly start ruining your self-esteem, confidence, energy levels, and it will become spiral. Once I stopped breastfeeding when my baby turned 6 months old, my husband organized me a present. So he booked a hotel for just me for the whole weekend in the city. And I went in there because I wanted to, I knew I wouldn't be able to have a proper night's sleep here because the baby would still be waking up at night. And my husband organized that present. So I went in there and I spent the whole night. I remember I had a massage, I had spa that he organized for me. And then I went to bed at 10 p.m. and I woke up at 8:30 or 9 a.m. in the morning. So I slept for 12 hours straight, 10 hours straight. And the feeling was absolutely amazing. I remember I woke up and I was laughing like a baby. That was just unbelievable feeling. So sleep is super, super important. Do not neglect that. Principle number 6, consistency, consistency, consistency. I will tell you a story about our 3-year-old son that happened 2 days ago. We went to have breakfast in a cafe and he had a ham and cheese croissant for breakfast and then a little cheesecake that he would share with his older sister. The cheesecake arrived before the croissant, before his proper breakfast. And he said, I want to have a cheesecake. And he started to have a little tantrum. And we said, no, you have to wait for ham and cheese croissant because that's your breakfast. And he was so unhappy. And then I calmly, in a very calm way, said to him, darling, you have 2 choices. Choice number 1, you either wait for ham and cheese croissant, you have your breakfast, and then you eat your cheesecake after that. Everyone is happy, everyone is smiling, and we are all good. Or you have a choice number 2. You're going to be screaming, everyone is unhappy, everything is bad. You're not going to have cheesecake because we told you you're not going to have it before ham and cheese croissant, but the morning is going to be ruined. He was looking at me with his big blue eyes, and then he said, okay. And then he waited for croissant, had his croissant, then he had his cheesecake that he shared with his sister, and the morning was beautiful. So you have to be firm and stick to the principles. But what happened later is 3 hours later, the situation repeated itself. We came to lunch and he woke up after the nap and said, I want to have a bicky. I said, no, you have a lunch here on the table. And he said, no, I want to have a bicky first. And I said, no, darling, we have a lunch first. And he said, no, I'm not going to have lunch. I said, that's okay. You might not want to have lunch. That's fine. Have it later. We didn't give him a bicky and he didn't have lunch. 1 hour later, he came up and said, Mom, I'm hungry. I want to have my lunch. I said, that's okay, darling. It's on the table. You can have your lunch. It's been waiting for you. He sat down, he ate his lunch, which was cold, but that's okay. He had his lunch, and then after that, he got a bikkie. We, both me and my husband, consistently repeated the same behavior. There are no misalignments, no inconsistencies. By being consistent, you simplify your life long term because you will not be going through the same fights, same problems more than few times. Kids are very smart. They will try a few times, maybe 10 times maximum. They will test your boundaries. But if you stay firm and stay consistent, they will realize that this is the way things are done in your household. Moreover, by being consistent, you help them navigate through this world. Kids love structure and consistency. Do not give in into those short moments of tantrums and crying. Always remember, they came into this family and you need to show them that that's how this family functions. Motherhood is beautiful and imperfect journey, and that's what makes it so wonderful. So take a deep breath, let go of the pressure to be perfect, and just enjoy the ride. With the right tools and support, you can navigate this phase with confidence, joy, and boost your success. Please let me know in the comments what is your experience of motherhood and what are your top tips to make it smooth. And if you want to know which soft skills to teach your kids in 21st century, check out my video here where I talk about those top 5 soft skills. As always, rooting for your success with care, Anna.